We jump ahead to 2003, where a girl who's slightly more diverse than her video game counterpart wakes up her father, Joel. Joel's slightly more diverse daughter goes into his room and steals his money and his watch. Sarah collects her stolen goods and leaves to head home when she notices the dog staring strangely at the old lady, but she probably just farted. Not one to waste an opportunity, Sarah goes next door to Mrs. Adler's looking for more things to steal, but all she finds is Granny Adler eating Mr. and Mrs. Adler alive. Realizing Sarah is the one who stole her favorite DVD, Granny attacks her, but Joel and Tommy arrive and put Granny in her place, which is the morgue. Joel is tired of Denise's shit.
Joel!
Denise, get back inside the house!
The three get into the truck and hit the road, heading out of town, going past Detroit. Sarah, on the other hand, is hit, and Joel keeps poking the wound to make sure she's not faking it. If she is faking it, she takes it too far and dies. While they wait for the cover of darkness, Ellie decides to read the dictionary to Joel. He's not a fan. An expert on getting on her knees, Tess is quick to comply.
Just get on your knees, just get on your knees.
We start off with a flashback to Wuhan, Indonesia in 2003, where people are living in the golden age when you could smoke at lunch. She's a fungus professor, and they ask her to look into a microscope so she can give her opinion on President Xi Jinping's penis. She farts in her suit and has to pull the cord and get out of there. He immediately demands a vaccine, because that's the solution to everything. The three head outside into the aftermath of Woodstock 99 and get a move on. They stop and look at the spot where Queen Lizzo collapsed during the outbreak. They see a huge crowd of homeless tweakers picking each other's butts down below as they discuss the hive mind properties of the infected. They're heading to the second floor when an earthquake shakes loose part of the cocaine exhibit upstairs. Joel finds their vehicle empty and full of blood. Must have been a woman driver, am I right, fellas? Then this homeless guy rolls in asking for some change, but Joel only gives him lead. Joel tosses Ellie a Big Mac before they have a staring contest, and Joel won't back down. Ellie finds a door that says Epstein Holding Company, open if you are under 16. She sees a trash can down below and immediately decides she wants to be with her people and jumps down, because she's trash. While down there, she finds some much needed tamps and Epstein himself trapped under some rubble. She stabs him in the face, proving that Epstein didn't kill himself. They see a pit of bones, and Joel tells Ellie that's where he's left all of his previous nagging, unwanted teenage companions. We flash back to 2003, 4 days after the outbreak, where a mother is inspecting the baby she just bought. He runs outside after he thought he heard some IRS agents. While having a nice meal, he turns on the newest episode of I'm a Zombie, Get Me Out of Here. 4 years later, he notices one of his traps has been sprung, so he goes out to annihilate the infected. But what he finds is even worse, a guy from Baltimore. Bill tosses down a ladder and says, "Come up here so I can beat you with my bare hands." He tells the man that Loser Town is that way. The two straight men stare at each other with no sexual tension at all as they discuss Arby's. Straight Bill comes to drop off clothes for Straight Frank, who's in the shower, yelling about how he dropped the soap and Bill should come help him get it, because that's what friends do. Frank jumps on the piano and starts to play one of the classics, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. Bill grabs his tits for confidence and one-ups Frank by playing Gangster's Paradise. Frank realizes Bill must be really straight after he hears how good he is at the piano. They compare beards really close together and see how far they can get their faces into each other's face while bumping dicks down below in a completely heterosexual manner. Frank does Bill a favor by conducting a heterosexual penis inspection. Then he massages Bill's breast, checking for lumps, because he's just that good a friend. Moving ahead another 3 years, Frank is fat-shaming Bill, but he leads him over to where the fresh gay berries are ready to pick. The gay berries take immediate effect, and now they're suddenly gay for the first time. Frank tries to treat the wound, but wants to get drunk first. Then he decides to try and take a shot out of the bullet hole. We jump ahead another 10 years to around the present day, where Frank's become a lazy son of a bitch who makes Bill push him around. Frank may have AIDS, but at least it's not mushroom COVID. Bill makes a crass joke about plowing Frank so good that he needs a wheelchair now. Frank's also gotten into drugs, casually popping some uppers at dinner. He gets wasted and Bill has to put him to bed. Frank says he's tired of being treated different because of his chair.
Looking at me in my chair!
And he's gonna kill himself. He wants a good last day, so he's going to marry Bill and he's going to fucking party.
Then you will crush all of these up, put them in my wine. I will drink it.
Could you guys move? I'm trying to fucking party here.
He has a creepy request about dying in Bill's arms, which kinda seems like a raw deal for Bill.
Do you love me?
Yes.
Then love me the way I want you to.
The two dress up and shoot a Men's Warehouse commercial. Bill has to push Frank's ass even to his own death. So selfish. And Bill rolls him out to the dumpster. Reading the letter aloud, Ellie pauses when she comes across the N-word, unsure what to do.
I leave you all of my weapons and equipment. Use them to keep...
Then Ellie finds a gat and tucks it away in case any fools don't be stepping to her right. Joel tosses her deodorant in a not-so-subtle hint. Ellie found a book of dad jokes, and now it's Joel who's contemplating suicide. Ellie will not stop farting, and Joel is done.
That's enough for today.
As they head to bed, Ellie asks if they're safe here, but Joel says they might get bears.
Bears. The bears can smell the menstruation.
Joel is boiling poop for breakfast.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
It smells like burnt shit.
Good to the last drop. In an effort to get her to shut up for just 30 minutes, Joel slips some sleeping pills into Ellie's breakfast. Joel sees an Asian guy and immediately tries to run him over. Ellie says, "Oh hell nah," and pulls out her strap, heading into the room and aiming right for Joel's balls. Joel apologizes to Ellie for having to save him and for her now having blood on her hands. And she says, "It ain't my first rodeo, bitch." He gives Ellie back her gun and starts to give her a quick lesson on how to use it, but she's not paying attention. She's daydreaming about being just like her favorite movie star, Alec Baldwin. They start to leave and Joel says,
We'll get through this.
and Ellie says, I know? It's a door? Joel sprinkles a ton of glass in front of the door to make sure Ellie doesn't get up to pee all night. We begin with some fireworks as the people of Kansas City are celebrating Taco Tuesday by murdering each other. Henry and Sam are hiding, and Henry is teaching Sam some gang signs. The crazy HR lady, Kathleen, who somehow became the ringleader of these people, is hosting the weekly AA meeting. But her voice just makes everyone want to pick the bottle up again. She tells the group, "You will tell me the attic that Henry and Sam are hiding in." Like her idol, she dehumanizes her enemies.
You're a rat.
Henry and Sam get put up in Edelstein's attic to hide from the fascist tyrant with a little bit of a mustache. I think I've heard this story before. Sam is deaf, but now Henry is checking to see if he's blind too. Joel hands Sam his trash, and Sam tells his brother, "You see the shit this guy just did?" Sam, full of hope, reaches for equality, but Joel stops him. So close. Joel says, "Fuck this shit, I'm out. Good luck, y'all." Psych. He chooses to kill the sniper instead, who it turns out is just the shovel guy from Home Alone, keeping watch over the neighborhood as always. Joel gets annoyed with how long this is taking and shoots at Ellie to speed things up. We jump ahead 3 months, where these, well-fed natives are running an animal gymnastics center. Joel and Ellie are robbing them for soup and directions, but unfortunately they had some magic mushrooms earlier, and they're not very helpful, and they leave with no good information on Tommy's whereabouts. They push on through the global warming and make camp for the night. Apparently, Ellie grabs some of the couple's mushrooms and wants to keep the party going with some booze. Ellie asks Joel if he had to sleep with any animal, what would it be and why?
Sheep. They're quiet. Do what they're told.
So, just you and a bunch of sheep. Romantic.
Ellie questions her decision to get the jab.
It'll work, right? The vaccine.
It's a little late to start wondering.
Out of nowhere, the cast of Yellowstone rides over the hill and takes them by surprise. Joel sees someone who looks like Tommy and screams his name, and the man comes over and says, "No, I'm Steve." Joel says, "You're Tommy enough for me," and accepts him as his new brother, and says, "We're gonna call you Tommy from now on because it's easier." And Ellie gets jealous that Joel has another friend to play with. Turns out this is Tommy's wife, Maria. I should have known because she looks exactly like the game version. Incredible casting. Joel gets distracted from the conversation when he sees one of his fantasies playing out.
Hey, Joel, check it.
Joel sees someone with hair like a sheep and gets excited. Then Joel and Ellie fight about whether or not the Super Bowl was rigged, and the conversation gets so heated that they decide to go their separate ways. In the morning, Tommy and Ellie are about to head out when they find Joel stealing a horse he was going to use to wrangle up some sheep, but he gets caught and guilt-tripped into going with Ellie. As they approach ECU, Ellie asks Joel what a bighorn is.
Big horns. What does that mean?
The kind of sheep
Oh, see? One step closer to your dream.
They then search the building, but only find some monkeys trying to do science. So it's pretty much on par with our medical industry today. A guy attacks Joel, and Joel snaps his neck. But Ellie notices that Joel stole the handle of the guy's baseball bat, so he and Ellie have to get out of there quick. Joel, well into his 50s, can't keep up with this shit anymore and lays down for a nap. Joel really wants to take a nap, but Ellie won't let him, and he gets aggressive. Later, Ellie is trying to get the beauty sleep she so desperately needs when an intruder breaks in and makes Ellie smell her hands. It turns out it's her friend, Dollar Store Zendaya, who wants to take her on a field trip. Next, they find a homeless crack addict and steal his booze, and he gets pissed and makes a quick exit. They taste test the booze just to find out it was actually the bum's piss bottle. Dollar Store Zendaya flips the lights on and tells Ellie about the wonders of Fireflientology. They jump on a carousel which, like this episode, is going nowhere. They keep taking swigs of the piss bottle because they've never had booze before and just think this is what it tastes like. The underage lesbian tension is building with each turn of the carousel. Now Ellie's really mad that her friend would bother saying goodbye in such a meaningful way. What a bitch. She leaves but comes back to apologize when she hears screaming. But it's just a Halloween decoration because we can't afford to have any measurable excitement interrupting all this important talking. Dollar Store Zendaya throws her a mask because it's easier than having an open discussion about Ellie's face. The store manager comes in and tells them to get off the counter, and the creators make the black girl pull out a gun and start blasting. We open up in a little mountain town where some religious folk are praying for some of that global warming. Ellie lays out a treat in front of Joel's nose to try and get him to do tricks, but he is dead set on breaking the record for the world's longest grumpy nap. She returns to Joel and says, "Let's see you try and sleep through this, you old fuck," and she starts stabbing at his wound. He vows to set out after Ellie in the morning, and the girl says,
"No, we go in, we kill, no more talk, we kill."
The group goes door to door just looking for some toilet paper, when suddenly Joel knifes one of them in the neck. But then Joel realizes this is all overrated and he goes back to napping. Then Ellie turns up the heat for the most intense round of hide and seek of her life. Joel says, "Surprise!" to Ellie, and she doesn't take it too well. We begin by catching up with the woman currently in first place in the annual Pregnant Women's Marathon, one of the few sporting events left in this apocalyptic wasteland. The new mother isn't too happy with how the baby came out looking, and she names the bundle of trash Ellie. Marlene and some Fireflientologists arrive at the house and find Ellie's mother ready to hand the baby off to the first person who walks through the door. Marlene takes the child, tells one of the guards to cover the baby's ears, and goes back to ensure that the mother never comes back to her asking for a refund. We move to the present day where we learn that that guard did not, in fact, cover Ellie's ears. Ellie says, "Let's finish this and beat the game. Save the world by finding a cure." He explains that he had just lost his daughter, and almost all of his money was in Silicon Valley Bank. But at the last minute he flinched when he remembered he had a backup account in Signature Bank. Ellie brings back the book of lame puns, and the locals have already had enough of it. One of the guards says, "Hey, look out, there's a bee," and tries to help Joel. Marlene has two guards escort Joel out, but he breaks free and shoots one of them in the dick. Joel interrogates the guy whose dick just got blown off like this guy has anything to live for now. The brave doctor who's willing to kill an uninformed child for the good of society offers to play rock, paper, scissors for the girl, but everyone knows bullet beats rock. She tells him that there's another bee, but this time on his face, and if he stands very still, she can get it for him. We move back to Wyoming where Joel is bitching about foreign-made vehicles as the car breaks down outside of Jackson. They hike toward the town and Joel tells Ellie all the ways she'll never live up to his daughter.
She was taller. She had a killer smile.